For my hour in the garden today, I have gone to the potting table and had a look for anything I can plant right now. So I'm going to actually get some of these in. I've got a plan for this garden behind me, and so some of these are involved in that plan. So I'm looking and thinking, I'm going to put them in now and get that garden started. Now, nothing is ever set in stone with me, with the garden, but what I've been doing is, because we're moving into the summer vegetables time, and those vegetables take up a lot of room. So all your vining plants and that, like cucumber and pumpkins and tomatoes and things like that, take up a lot of room, and zucchinis, you know, these things need a bit of organisation. So because space is limited, I have to sit down with a pen and think about where I'm going to put things, think about where best they will sit together and grow happily together, and incorporate my interplanting. So I have mapped out beds 1 and 2 behind me over here. So I know that what's going in here, I can start to put in the seedlings that are ready. So the seeds that I have grown that are now sitting in pots going, I wouldn't mind real ground by now, they're going in today. So that's what we'll do. We'll put some in and get this little plan. I'll show you my plan so you can see. We'll get that started. So have I shown you the right one? Yes, I've shown you the right one. Already I have started. So in this bed, the only thing left in here that was growing is this perpetual spinach that has almost got like a trunk as its base with little spindly bits growing off it. I don't know if that's going to come back and do anything, but I've left it in here just in case, and I've got some corn salad. So they were seedlings that popped up because they self-sowed in this bed. I do know that underneath here is a scarlet runner bean, so that may pop its way up, or it may not. And I say may not because I have recently rejuvenated this bed. I have a lot of issues with grass, and one bit's trying to come up here. So what I've done is lay cardboard down again. The bed was receding in here. I was about like halfway over there of soil, and there was a lot of metal and not enough soil. So I have filled these beds and added some amendments to it, and I'm hoping it's not too early to put things in here now. So I'm going to give it a go and see how they go. I think they'll be all right. So I'll show you the roots in a minute on some of these plants. So they are definitely fairly mature now, and we'll start putting them in. But the north sun comes this way here, so the hottest part is coming from this way during the summertime. So if I put a trellis here, it's going to shade out anything on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a trellis down the middle from north to south so that it's not really blocking off much behind it, and then right at the south end of this bed, I'm going to put a trellis across the back and grow something up over that, and possibly over the water tank that's at the back. I'm hoping to utilise the space at the back that's not being used for anything other than the tank and grass. If I've got a vine growing up and over that, that will also shade the water that's in that tank in the summertime. So that's what we're going to do with this. So I'm going to grow tomatoes in the middle of it and interplant with dill and basil. And then in front of the tomatoes, I've got beetroot, onions, parsnips, and then in front of that, dwarf beans. I'm going to put dwarf beans either side, the long sides of this bed, and then just this side, the south side of the back trellis, I will be able to put some lettuce that will be highly shaded and perhaps grow when it's really hot, because it's difficult to grow the lettuce when it gets really hot. The Australian sun is very, very hot. And on the other side of the middle trellis that runs from the north to the south. On the other side, I'm thinking about putting some sunflowers for a bit of colour in the middle here, and I might be able to protect them from the birds being in this spot, and beans. Oh, and today we are planting the marigolds. So good to have marigolds where your tomatoes are, and that's what I've got growing in here, and a tomatoes going in today too. So here I've got what's left over of some white salad onions that my mum passed to me, and I've put them in some other areas of the garden, but these, I won't let these go to waste, and I'll put these in here. I've also got the dill, and it's possibly too early. I'm hoping not, and if it is, I might even get a dill plant later, just so I can get a dill started, because as we know, dill, once you've got started, self-sows like parsley, and once you've got one plant going, if you let it go to seed each year, you'll always have dill, and that is my hope. These, though, are drying out so quickly, and I'm finding it difficult to keep up with this particular seed tray. So I'm going to put them in, and I think they'll do better in the ground. I'm hoping they'll do better in the ground. These are the marigolds. So we've got these marigolds. These are marigold Hawaii, and I've got 2 tomatoes here, which are the yellow cherry. Now they should be really prolific. They've still got their first leaves on them, but they've got all this secondary growth here. So they are happy, and they're going to go into the ground. And yes, I can see roots on the bottom of those too. So they've been in these for maybe 2 weeks. So we're going to put them in. Let's get some planting done. Now I know some people are petrified in Melbourne of planting out their tomato seedlings right now, but look, I've had some in for about 10 days. And they're doing fine, but mine are very hardened off outside. So, and grown from seed in my soil. It's probably going to fall apart because okay, I'll show you here. So this is in the soil in my garden. They're grown in the soil after the first stage in the seed raising mix. So they are climatised to the soil already, and then they have been climatised to the weather under cover on my veranda. The position on the veranda that they're in is under cover, but it's right on the edge where the weather gets them, so the sun gets them, the rain, the heavy rain. They've had a bit of heavy rain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch off the baby leaves, the first leaves, and then I'm going to bury it quite deep up to that green. Oh, that one's not quite high. It's a little bit higher, that one. And this mulch is quite thick. It's probably about 3 inches thick. So I'm going to leave the mulch around the plant but away from the plant. So like that. So it's got room here, and the mulch is kind of sheltering it a little bit, like a wall around it, without totally covering the little seedling. So that's one done, and we'll do the rest. So I'm planting the marigolds first. I've got one in, and I'm going to put another one in. I've got enough to go around the garden with this. You don't need heaps of them, and they may grow. I'm not sure how big these grow. Last time I grew marigolds, the plant got huge. Come on, gently. I want to pull by the stem. There you go. Out you come. So there's the roots on it. It is breaking apart, but I'll put them in there. So I've got 2 on the line of where I'm putting the tomatoes. Like that. And the straw's quite deep, well not too deep, it's about 3 inches deep, and so that will kind of create a little bit of a wall around it. Now I've started 2 zucchinis here, which will take up most of the room in here. I'm thinking about the space. These will be grown up a stake. However, there's still foliage to contend with. I'll start the first tomato just back a little bit from the zucchini, and I'm going to slightly tilt the stakes forward so that they're coming over the edge of the bed. So I'll start the first tomato here and I'll put a cherry in there. I'm going to remove these leaves. These are the first leaves from the plant. These are your regular leaves. So that's a little seedling leaf. I'm going to remove those and then plant up to about that, or just over that line. So I'll plant the tomatoes in deeper. There we go, there we go, there we go. Okay. Well, they're not too bad. Now, can you see the roots on it? Oh, it's so sunny. See the roots? So the roots are quite long. They're not root bound. There's plenty of room in that soil, but they're reaching. So I know that it's going to love to have more soil to reach into. And this soil is still very damp. Okay. Much damper than the pot. So I'm putting 2 in today. I've got more, but I'm putting 2 in today. I'll monitor it and then gradually put more out as I go. I'll probably put a different tomato in the centre, or a couple different ones. I might fit 1 or 2 more in the centre. So I think I'll try the dill up here. I'm going to use some of this other soil in the hole, just in case my prep's still a bit rich. Put an onion in with it. Dill. I've dampened these ones off to try and get them out a bit easier. Dill is so fine. Now hopefully, such a little baby. I'll just put 1 in, I think. I'm scared to lose the rest of what I've got growing. I'll just put 1 in and see. And with the onions, I'm going to plant them thicker than they would be, and as they grow, or if they all grow, I'm going to do this with my fingers. I can harvest in between, and that way harvest some of them smaller. and let others grow on then. I just don't want to waste these seedlings. But best to have small onions than no onions. I absolutely love onions. My husband can't eat them. But I put them in just about everything I eat. I'll add them after I've cooked. Actually, I think I put two in together. That's what I did. The last planting, I put two in a hole because two will grow side by side, no problem. I've watched people plant onions all different ways. I think the two each hole is a good idea. I'm kind of trying to bury not much more than the roots. I have buried them deeper before. You're not meant to, and they've still grown. They kind of grow out from the hole. But it'll be interesting to see how they go in here after, because I did put some closed loop compost in here. It wasn't that long ago, so it's still quite hot compost, I guess. So we'll see. Still got plenty left. So I water them in, and I'm going to leave those holes open like that. So I won't push the mulch back around them. That's for a later date if I need to. At the moment I'm leaving those open, almost like trenches or holes in amongst the shelter of the mulch. And the mulch will continue to work around them and the worms can do their thing around them. But hopefully they take. I'm fairly confident. So I've done a couple of lots and they've been fine. So not in this bed, but other places. So that's the onions done, the dill in, 2 cherry tomatoes and some marigolds. So this bed has started, it's begun its journey. I do have to set up all the trellising and I don't have all the equipment at the moment, but I might just put in a couple of stakes for the zucchinis, and because I do have those, and we'll do that now. Soil. That is so nice. I'm very proud of my soil. Not as soft there, but that's okay. So those I can grow the zucchinis up. I might put a cross piece across it if it needs it. They're flexible. But that's okay. They're not going to fall over. It's just flexible piping. So when these zucchinis get a bit bigger, I'll have that already done. Now the other thing is, I need to get the sunflower seeds. We'll put some sunflower seeds in. Now, in the past, I have put sunflowers directly in the garden and mice or birds have dug them up and eaten them. So the last time I grew sunflowers, I started them first, which I do have some started, only a few. I'm going to start some more with the seeds I've bought. In here, you see there, I have sunflower seeds that I feed my chickens. so absolutely cheap to buy. So I'm going to put these in abundance in this area, and if they get dug up or they get eaten, it won't matter, or if they don't germinate, it won't matter, or if it's too cold, or if they're temperamental in this bed because it hasn't had enough time to rest before I put them in, it won't matter. So we'll try these and see, and it'll be interesting to see what sunflowers come out of these, and if they do successfully grow, which I don't see why they wouldn't, but if they do, they'll be the same seeds that I feed to the chickens that I normally buy, that I won't have to buy. So I'm going to just build a trench. Now, for those who are worried about sunflowers affecting things around it, they say if you put them with other plants, they don't play nice. They've got something in them that stops other plants growing. Well, I've kind of researched. I didn't find that with the sunflowers that were growing in my garden. It didn't seem to affect the plants around them. And on further research, I discovered that if they're just a little bit away from them, because they need their own room, they're fine. So just not to plant stuff on top of them, top of the roots. So that's what I'll do. So in here, I'm going to be putting beans right on the very edge, and just behind, I'll just stick this soil in a bit. I will sprinkle seeds. And if I get too many that have grown, I'm just kind of mixing them like a cake, just into the top surface a little bit. I will pat it down, and then a little trick that I use now because of the birds, I will show you my hack. My hack is these. These are the wire baskets. I think they're IKEA wire baskets that go in the metal wardrobes and so forth. So these baskets are great little covers for your seeds to stop the birds getting in and the birds getting to your seeds or seedlings. So I use these around the gardens. They're lasting a while. I've had them for about 12 months. They seem to be fine outside, and I picked them up really cheap on the marketplace, so I didn't pay the price that you would pay in the stores. So if you see those shelf sets being sold off really cheap, think of covers instead of drawers. If you don't need the drawers, they make great covers. Throw some spare sunflowers to the girls. There you go. They probably think they're bugs. It's usually bugs they get out in the garden. Okay, so the camera was on when it was off and off when it was on. So I missed this bit, but I have planted 2 lots of the button-up pumpkins in the corners of this bed, and I've put 3 seeds in each. So I'll just nip off, if I get more than one coming up, I'll nip off the rest, keep the strongest ones. And this can grow up and over behind me, this water tank. So that's the idea for here. So I have done that as well. So this bed has still got to have a few root vegetables in. The beans will go in a bit later, and the rest of the tomatoes can go in here, and then I need to finish the actual supports for it. But pretty much this is planted if all those seeds pop up. So that didn't take long at all. I don't think that's taken us the hour. I'll check the time. Okay, that's one more cage on. That may or may not protect the sunflowers, but certainly from birds. Mice can still get in if there's mice around. So I've also got a button-up pumpkin that's needing some water here. Poor little thing. It's drying out very quickly in this. I don't know where the roots are at. So fine roots, but lots of fruits, and probably still at the stage I can gently pull it apart and put them in something else and separate them at this stage. And then I'll put them back on the veranda, I think these ones. Keep them a bit more sheltered for a while and let them grow on in here, and then put them out later. And over on the edge here, I've planted out some carrots, Cosmos Purple. Nice heirloom variety. And the dill is looking very happy in there. You can see it has probably doubled in size. That one's okay. I'm not sure if there was two in there that I planted, but that one's okay. That's going to grow. The pumpkins, still no sign of the pumpkins yet. Can't see anything yet, but the tomatoes are happy, the marigolds are happy, and the sunflowers are up. I'm not sure if you can see this on video, but it's a classic example of the sooner you can get your little seedlings into the ground, the better. Just look at that one. I don't know if you can see the difference, but that one has shot up and it's probably gained 2 inches. In just that very short time of being in the garden. The other thing I didn't mention was I will wait for the marigolds to grow probably twice that height, and then I'll pinch them out. And hopefully they will bunch out and grow more side shoots. Well, not hopefully, they will. So they're a bit small at the moment. I'll wait for them to settle into the garden, and then once they get a bit bigger and not too big, I'll start pinching them out. Watching the sides come out, pinch them out, and then you get a nice thick growth, and it doesn't get long and leggy, so, which they can do. So I hope you enjoyed that power hour. Let me know in the comments what you're getting up to in your power hour gardening challenge. If you've joined me, if you haven't, feel free. There's no sign up or anything like that. You just follow along and we keep each other accountable in the garden, getting more done and cheering each other on in our gardening adventures and growing food and nurturing our families through our backyards, or if you're lucky enough to have more land, acres. So thanks for joining me, as I said, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now. perfect amount. Done! Woohoo, girls! Woohoo! Hey? Hello, fatty girls. You've been eating, I can see. Hello, girl. Hello. You want your seeds? Come on. Everyone in? Oh, here we go. Here you go. Get your seats. Come on. Come on, you. You come in too. Here you go. I hate them for you. Here you go. Come on, they won't see you in there.